This passage from Autobiography of a Yogi, this excerpt, as Swami introduced it, is one of the most inspiring, and quite frankly, I have to say, it might be my favorite part of the whole book. It's hard to have a favorite because there are so many good parts of that book. And we only got a brief hearing of what was read there, of all that Yogananda so poetically described with this divine soul sight. One of the things that I really appreciate about it is that, as the readings said, man cannot see God. We can't see it with our human eyes. And yet Yogananda takes all of that and creates this imagery poetically where I can imagine it very, very easily. And in fact, that's exactly what I do. It's one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite passages of the whole book, is I keep returning to it. It always has been. The Autobiography of a Yogi, in my opinion, has layers of meanings. And one of the layers in there is that in this particular part, as Yogananda said and Swami Kriyananda echoed it in many different ways, we can't get to that point of divine realization without a creativity. And that inspiration that this passage provides, that imagination that I can bring into me, helps me. There's been two, that's one of two. The other one is, I'm not going to think my way to God, which is something that a few of us have talked about in the past. But using my imagination helps me get out of myself and imagine these. Now, maybe it'll happen that way, maybe it won't happen that way. Maybe I'll have those experiences, maybe I won't. I don't know, maybe it's this lifetime or a future life. It doesn't matter. The scriptures that say, and Yogananda says, that we all will get to that point of enlightenment. We will be able to experience those things, those words, that center of the Imperium, even if I can't necessarily understand what all of that means. Another thing that I find helpful is something that happens just before that passage that Piyush read in this chapter of Cosmic Consciousness, which is that Yogananda sits down to meditate, and let's just say, as Premi said on Wednesday, it is not a calm meditation. He does not act with contentment. His thoughts are very, well, they're going. Sri Yukteswar, his guru, because he's in his ashram, in Yukteswar's ashram, recognizes and calls out to Yogananda. And Yogananda is maybe a little stubbornly, he's like, no, he knows I need to be meditating. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to... But eventually, Sri Yukteswar persists. Yogananda joins him. And again, very lovingly described by Yogananda, Sri Yukteswar reaches out and gently touches Yogananda just above the heart and gives him the divine sight that we then hear about. Now for me, again, one of those layers of meaning is I don't have to have the perfect meditation to get to that point. Maybe I will. I always want to be striving for that. But that perfect breath is something that I always want to be striving for. But even if I'm not having that perfect Kriya breath, even if my mind is going wherever, divine love, if my heart is open to it, just as that whispers that was so beautifully read, if I open my heart to that divine love, it can happen in a moment. That's one of those layers of keep persisting, keep going. But don't worry if I'm not feeling perfect in that practice. If we go still further back from this reading, in fact, in the prior chapters, Yogananda, well, in the very beginning of that chapter on cosmic consciousness, he is returning to Sri Yukteswar's ashram. He had gone to the Himalayas in the prior chapter. He had sort of declared. He asked for Sri Yukteswar's permission. Sri Yukteswar didn't give him that permission, but he went anyway. Seemed like a good idea at the time.